Not sure if you could tell, Maryland's off to the Final Four in women's lacrosse, which brings us to Libby May, our big interview of the day. And here's the thing, Libby, getting to the Final Four is amazing, but you won 18-5, a blowout in the quarterfinals? Explain yourself.
I think, we're always focusing on just playing our game, playing Maryland lacrosse. So when we're prepping for Florida, obviously they're a great opponent. We respect them. So we're just working on, putting in the work in practice and just getting ready for that game. So we focus on playing our game. We focus on executing the little things, and we know that any outcome is going to take care of itself. So obviously in the beginning of the game, it was a little bit neck and neck, but we began to execute on offense, get the draws, and that's how we were able to pull away.
5 goals for you personally. Which one from that game stands out?
I don't know. Probably the assisted goals. I love working with my teammates. Everybody has such good vision. I think our offense is so selfless, and we're really versatile. So I love a good assisted goal.
Yeah, very, very good answer, very selfless, but I'm going to ask you to be selfish here. You scored 5 goals in back-to-back-to-back games. What are you doing individually well right now?
I think something that Kathy always tries to get us to emulate is just confidence and knowing that when we play Maryland lacrosse, we can beat anybody. So especially this year, being a junior, I've had to step into a leadership role, and it's been really helpful for my play. I have to thank my teammates so much. They're so supportive. Anytime that we're out there on the field, everybody is so trusting of one another, and I really think that's how every single person on the offense is able to get goals.
And it's such a cohesive team, clearly, but also results-wise. You won the regular season, you won the tournament. What is it on the field collectively, you as a team, do so well?
I really think we play together so well. There's so much love out there on the field. Our team is so close, so when we're out there, we're playing with our best friends. We're like a family, so it's really fun. We're out there having a blast, and when we stay confident and just play for each other and focus on the little things, we can beat anybody. It's really fun.
What's it like playing with Aurora Cordingley?
She's awesome. I can't even begin to describe how awesome of a teammate she is, let alone a player. She has such great vision. She has awesome lax IQ. And she's so supportive. She's always out there telling how much she trusts me, hyping me up, giving me compliments when I need them, when maybe I'm in a sticky situation. So I can't thank her enough, and I've learned so much from her this year and can't wait for next week with her.
Give me an example of a compliment when you were in a sticky situation that helped.
If any of us are having the shooting woes, which in lacrosse, we're shooting and the shots just aren't falling, she'll come up to us and say, I've seen you score that in practice, you've got the next one. I know that you can do that, you're awesome. So that's it's really helpful for all of our play, and I know that any of our attackers or middies that are on the offensive end can always count on her.
What's it like trying to score on Emily Sterling?
Emily is a beast. She's awesome. She's so good at anticipating. She's quick. We always stay after practice and shoot on one another and give each other little pointers. So she's awesome. She's the kind of player that you love to have on your team, not to play against her. So in practice, when she's saving our shots, it makes us better, and I just get excited for games when I can see her awesomeness on display.
One more teammate here. What does Abby Bosco do best?
Abby's awesome. She's so feisty. She's fierce. She's such a competitor. It's so fun to be on the team with her. She goes 110% at all times, and she's amazing. I absolutely love watching her play, and she's such a great teammate, so supportive. I can trust her in any situation on defense, and she's really helped us with fast breaks this year. When she gets those interceptions or cause turnovers on the defensive end, it starts our offense. Any good offense starts with good defense, so we really have her and the rest of the crew to thank for that.
If I had your teammates here, what would they say Libby May does best?
You'd have to ask them, but I like to think that I play with passion. I love the Terps so much, and I love my teammates. And I think something that Kathy always, again, tries to get us to practice is being ourselves, having fun, and just playing with confidence. So anytime that anybody can play with confidence and just go out there and have fun and play with your best friends around you, it just makes your play that much better.
You brought up your head coach, Kathy Reese, a couple of times. What is different about Kathy Reese compared to postseason Kathy Reese?
Kathy is a winner. She develops championship players, championship teams, and just a mindset that really cultivates greatness. So she's out there, she's giving us energy, really helping us stay confident, stay poised, and knowing that if we just focus on the little things and execute what we do best, nobody can touch us. So she's awesome. She's such a great role model, and I'm so grateful to play for her program.
How would you describe her when she was recruiting you?
Honestly, my first impression of her was that she's a light. She's hilarious, she's so funny, she's extremely kind, and I couldn't imagine saying no to her when she was recruiting me. I remember after my visit, I went home and I was talking to my mom and dad, and I was like, I can't imagine saying no, I have to go to Maryland. So she's just an awesome person, and I'm so grateful to play for her.
You're at this great program for lacrosse, but not just for the women. The men are obviously elite too and have been. Is there friendly competition? I mean, if you win the national title and they don't, are you rubbing in their noses all summer long?
No, I think both teams are really supportive of each other. Yesterday at our Florida game, they were all there on the fence cheering us on. We obviously are so supportive of them too, going to their games all season long. I think both teams are really proud of each other. Coach Tillman and Coach Kathy are really supportive of one another as well. So we're rooting for them. We're really excited to see where both teams go.
Boston College up next in the Final Four of the NCAA tournament. Finish this sentence. We will win this game if
we play together, if we have fun, if we stay confident, if we focus on Maryland lacrosse and play our game and just have fun out there with our favorite team, our favorite players, it's going to be fun, and Maryland will come on top.
Libby May, a team on an 11-game winning streak. You guys look unstoppable. Best of luck in that matchup. We'll hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.
Now, you heard Libby say, and sure enough, there they are, proof. Maryland men's lacrosse watching the women's team and cheering them on. Of course, remember, men's team also not done playing just yet. On Sunday, the top-seeded men's lacrosse squad from Maryland is in action. They will play Virginia Sunday afternoon, Columbus, Ohio. The win, and they are off to their Final Four as well. Well, here's a tweet. Yeah, if you looked up in the dictionary the definition of a brick wall, it would say Madison Doucette, 11 saves in the last game, 4 goals allowed. Absolutely incredible stuff, and we're thrilled to have the Northwestern goalkeeper for the women's lacrosse team join us now on the show. Madison, thanks for joining us. So you win that quarterfinal game 15-4. How did that game feel for you personally among the better games you've ever played?
I mean, it was just electric. You can't really beat the home field advantage, and we definitely profited off of that. Every part of the field played amazing, and it was just such great energy on Lakeside Martin Stadium. It was fun. That's really all you can say about it.
Okay, that's nice. Again, very political answer. I asked about you. You gave up only 4 goals. How?
I mean, it's the political answer, but it's the correct answer, and it was my defense. We scouted Syracuse very well. The scout team did an amazing job, and they gave me the shots I wanted to see. It's very easy to do my job when they're making shots look like beach balls because they're coming from so far out. They're entirely contested. So, yeah, I snagged a couple, but I saw exactly what I wanted to see, and it was exactly the game plan.
Okay, so give me depth, it sounds like, is important. What are the other things your defenders do to help you? One of them is make sure the shots are far away. What are the other things they do really well?
I mean, contesting the shots, it's a lot easier to get a good shot off when your hands are free, but they got on there. They were really on the sticks, on the hands. Where that shot's coming from, too, I think the misconception is that a shot given up is a mistake by the D, but truly, if they give up the right shot, that's kind of just counting as a turnover when we make that stop. So angles, depth, contesting the shots are really the big things.
Do you talk more during a game to your teammates or to yourself?
Definitely teammates, but we just like to get fired up in there. People have asked me if I sing in the cage. Unfortunately, that's a no. But if anyone has any recommendations, maybe I'll change it up.
Why are you not singing in the cage?
I don't have a great voice. As you can tell, after a game, I lose it slightly. So gotta save everything I have to actually communicate defensively.
But wouldn't wouldn't your lack of singing talent help you?
It would be off-putting to the opponent. That much I'll give you. It would also be off-putting to me, though, so I think we'll save that one for a little later, potentially.
Okay, so it all evens out in the wash, is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
I got to tell you, when I watch, I think you need more padding. I get worried about you, Madison. Really, all goalies. Don't you think so?
I got asked about this last night by one of my teammates' moms. I think it takes off a little sting, but anything on the legs really doesn't do much for you unless you wore hockey shin guards or catcher's gear. You're not going to get much benefit, so you take the bruises as a point of pride.
Yeah. How much, we're looking at some of your stuff here, how much does the eye black help you?
Probably not at all, but it's a little routine. You can be superstitious with it. I also think there's something to be said about the sun. They tell you there's a certain place to put it on if you want the sun benefit. Regardless, it just kind of fits in my pregame routine, and I like it. My teammates think it's fun. I think it's adorable when young players send me them wearing the eye black. So I'll keep it rolling.
When did you first start wearing eye black?
I mean, in high school, they don't let you get away with it. And then in college, I wore it kind of on and off freshman year. And then summer 2019, when we were playing for the U19 World Championships, I got in the habit. I kind of found my style with it, and it's carried on since then.
When do you wear it outside of lacrosse? Don't lie to me.
I honestly can't say there's
Madison.
a time. I don't know. Maybe I've got to get it going. Can't really think of it. Paintball. If I played competitive paintball, maybe it would come through.
That's what I'm saying. Or like if you're in traffic or something, or someone wants to argue with you at a grocery store, give a quick boom boom on the cheeks, and who's gonna yell at you with eye black on?
Probably no one, but they also might call someone for my help. They might be concerned about my well-being.
Yeah, but that's when you sing to them and then they run away.
Clearly, I have a lot to work on. I gotta get on that.
No, you don't. You're doing great. Your team's doing great. Let me go back to the Big Ten tournament. You guys lose to Rutgers, a team you had never lost to in the history of your programs. What did you guys learn from that game?
I mean, Rutgers is a fantastic team. They've been moving up every year, and this year in particular, they were incredibly strong. So we didn't think about them as a team that, hey, we beat every time. We thought about them as a team that was standing between us and the Big Ten championship. And unfortunately, they prevailed in that. But I think you learn from the losses. You hope to learn from the wins, but the losses really make you look in the mirror. And we learned that we needed to come together as a team. We needed to play our game no matter what. And we just needed to be relentless. We let up in that game. Rutgers did an amazing job, and we didn't play our game. So we learned to come as a unit and just kind of put the pedal to the metal and do our job.
So it sounds like your takeaways from that were more mental than it was kind of an X and O's thing on the field?
Absolutely. I mean, Rutgers is one team, Maryland's another team, Syracuse is another, Michigan. So they're all different. X's and O's might apply slightly, but every team's going to throw something different at you. So I think our big takeaway is if we come together, we play together, and we just are confident and know what we can do and execute on that, no team is going to be able to beat us. We can only beat ourselves.
You guys are the top scoring team in the Big Ten. Why?
Have you seen my attack? It's fantastic. I think the reason we're having defensive success as well is because that's what we see attack every day and vice versa. So, I mean, we've got our big guns. Aaron has the best vision in the game. Lauren's absolutely ridiculously fast, can finish from anywhere. And Brett Wire, everyone coming through the mid, Carly Mahoney. We just have a lot of big guns. We have a deep bench. No matter who comes off in that A-mid role or coming through the mid or second-line attack, they can score goals, and they can score goals really well. It's fun to play against. It's fun to watch from the other end of the field.
Lauren Gilbert had 4 in the quarterfinal. What does she do that makes you just kind of sit back and watch?
She works. She does probably more reps pre-practice than anyone out there. She's always dialing it in, and when I have the time, I hop in there with her, and we just kind of rep those shots, and no matter how many times I see them, I'm not stopping them. So she has that speed, she has that amazing first step, and I think she's done a great job this year of being smart and feeding when she can, pulling out, just doing exactly what she needs to do. It's fun to watch. It's absolutely electric, and when she scores a goal, the way she does it, her reaction to it, just it's such a momentum shift every time.
How good of a secret weapon are you offensively?
In terms of if you gave me a field stick?
Yeah.
You know, can't say I've been on the field since like freshman year of high school, so I'm not really sure. I would like to think I'd have something to contribute, but at the same time, I know how much time each of my teammates spend on dialing in those special skills, and I have a very different stick in my hand, so who knows where that shot would go. I think I could pop some people on defense, but it might take a minute for me to get my my scoring set.
When was the last time you scored a goal in a competitive game?
Freshman year of high school. My coach, despite really not wanting to, it was my first year playing goalie, she didn't want me to get hurt, but she let me go. I think I scored like a lefty goal, just like really in tight, and then she was like, all right, never again. You're a liability, never again.
Compare the feeling of scoring a goal versus making a save.
Oh, they're so different. It's interesting, because I kind of joke about the fact that when a goal scorer now scores a goal, they get to throw their stick down and celebrate. And when a goalie makes a save, if you throw your stick down and celebrate, something is going to go terribly wrong. So it's cool because you have that powerful moment. You can really be a momentum shift. Everyone's fired up around you. I think my D in particular this year, like we're always yelling after saves. And then you get to start the offense. You get to kind of quarterback that first step in the transition. So I think that part's really fun. It really means you get to buckle down and do your job again, but that's a beautiful thing.
Speaking of beautiful thing, you're off to the Final Four. Number 1 North Carolina waiting in the wings. Give me the key to the game.
Play our game. I mean, North Carolina is obviously an insanely talented opponent. They're strong in every part of the field, but so are a lot of teams we've played thus far. I think we just, like I said before, we got to do our job. We've got to stick to our guns. We're going to have a great week of prep building up here. This is the longest we've had leading up to a game in a long time. So we get a chance to heal the bodies, kind of get the minds dialed in, get the tactical stuff just set to rock, and it's going to be a great game no matter what happens, and I'm really excited about what I know the Cats can do next Friday.
And I know you're not looking ahead, nor should you, but you do know an all Big Ten final is possible.
I mean, it would be amazing. I think this conference is underrated. Everyone talks about the ACC, rightfully so. They've had some insanely dominant teams, but you've seen what Maryland's done this year, what we've done as well. Michigan, Hopkins, Ohio State, Rutgers. Every team in the Big Ten you can say something about. So I think that would be a very nice exclamation point for the end of the season, not just for the Big Ten, but also for the Cats and for Maryland. We'd love to see them on that side, but obviously we're dialed into Friday first and foremost.
Madison Doucette, I think I need to talk to you every day the rest of my career. I hope you're okay with that.
I mean, hey, we got to switch names too, so let's make it happen.
I know, mine is terribly boring compared to your beautiful flowery name.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Keep the eye black going. I want to hear more songs on the field and keep piling up the victories. You're the secret weapon offensively. Thank you, Madison.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Have a good one. Go Cats.
Former Michigan State outfielder Brandon Hughes was, again, an outfielder back when he was at MSU, and a talented one at that. He was named a second-team All-Big Ten performer back in 2017. In fact, the Cubs drafted him that year. However, back in 2019, the Cubs gave him an ultimatum, said he can either become a pitcher or he's getting released. He chose to learn an entirely new position and hence became a pitcher. Guess what? It worked. Hughes, officially the first pitcher in the modern era to get 5 or more outs in his MLB debut, all of them coming via strikeout. Not bad for a fellow who was an outfielder in college and has only picked up his new position in a couple years' time. With that in mind, we're going to stay on baseball and stay on the professional side of things, as we're glad to bring in Keith Law, senior writer on baseball when it comes to The Athletic. When you can get Keith Law on your show, you do what you can to get him. So, Keith, it's, of course, just about the Big Ten tournament. That starts on Wednesday here in the world of baseball, and that means basically the end of the season. So we wanted to get your thoughts on looking ahead to where some of these players could be seen by Major League Baseball scouts. Give me kind of your overall thought on the Big Ten in terms of players who can be going to the next level.
It's probably a light year relative to some in the Big Ten. We've got a lot of teams there that probably don't have anyone who's going to be drafted, say, in the top 5 rounds or so, which is where the majority of the, especially college prospects, tend to go. After that, you do see teams try to go. You'll still see college players drafted, but teams will try to go more for college seniors to save some money. Not to say they're not prospects, but the more significant ones tend to go off the board in the first 5 rounds. And this year in the Big Ten, we might only have 3 or 4 of those players, which I would say is a low number, even relative to the last few years in the Big Ten.
Well, let's talk about some of those guys that are seen as higher up prospects. Adam Mazur, we talked earlier in the show, he had a brutal night last night, but he's had an incredible season this year. I think you've got him ranked in the top 25. What stands out about Adam Mazur of Iowa?
And I saw him when he came to pitch at Rutgers about a month ago, and he couldn't have pitched any better that day. And there were a number of scouting directors and national cross-checkers there to see it. He was 92 to 95. He showed me 2 distinct breaking balls, and he threw everything for strikes. He held his velocity deep into games, which is key because the one criticism I've heard of him from scouts is, as you can see here, he's got a little bit of a slighter build. We tend to favor pitchers who are broader or at least have the kind of frame that could pack on some more muscle as they get older. He doesn't look like that, but he held his velocity, and that is a pretty good indicator of someone's ability to stay a starter. So with 3 pitches, ton of strikes, really great track record this year other than last night when he was at least pitching on short rest. I think you're looking at somebody with the ceiling of a mid-rotation starter. In a year when almost all of the other major college pitchers who might go in the first round have gotten hurt, he really stands out as someone who's been healthy and taken the ball every single week.
He has come on so strong this year, but when he was at South Dakota State, he had a couple of subpar seasons. How much does that factor in? Like, how much are scouts looking at everything you did in college as opposed to just what you are right now?
Well, here's the good news. I don't think anybody saw him at South Dakota State. So we can just pretend that didn't happen. There's a big difference in the way teams and scouts evaluate pitchers versus position players. With position players, we're definitely more concerned about a player's overall track record. You want to see growth. You don't expect a guy to be as good in his freshman year as he is in his junior year, certainly, but you would like to see more than just a one-season sample of performance. However, with pitchers, particularly the way that pitchers often increase their velocity as they go from age 18, 19 to 21 when they're draft eligible, we're much more tolerant of pitchers who've had subpar freshman and or sophomore years. In the case of Mazur, because he also went to a different program, different coaching staff, and he's now performing better and also doing it against much better competition, I don't think anything that happened before this year will really work against him. It is more, hey, he's held his velocity deep into the season and continued to perform basically from start to finish in a year when so many of his peers in the college class have either not performed as well or have gotten hurt.
You mentioned there's a difference between evaluating pitchers and players in the field. Let's get to one of those. Michigan outfielder Clark Elliott is in your top 100. How do you evaluate where he is and where his ceiling is?
So he can hit and he can run, and it looks like he can really play defense. The question on him and whether you think he's a future regular or a future fourth outfielder really comes down to power. And in this case, I'm talking a little bit less about home run power and more power, just the ability to hit the ball hard. When we talk about exit velocity for prospects, we're using it not just as an indicator of someone's ability to eventually hit the ball over the fence, but will he make consistent hard contact against pro pitching using a wood bat so that he can at least hit for average? And in a case of a player like Elliott, there's no expectation he's going to be a big home run hitter. We're thinking more of a leadoff profile, but you still have to hit. We want to see some doubles power, and we want to know you're going to hit the ball hard enough that pitchers try to pitch around you at times so that you can get on base. I think he's going to go somewhere in the second round or so because there is this question about what the ultimate power exit velocity ceiling is, but there are enough present tools in the hit and run and defense that I don't think he'll last more than about 60 or 70 picks.
So Keith, here's my selfish question for you. I have been asked, I've been here 15 years since the network started, and all the time I'll get asked, hey, is EJ Liddell going to be great in the NBA? Hey, is Justin Fields going to be good in the NFL? I have no clue. I have been wrong so many times when I thought this guy is a can't miss. How do you tell this makes someone a great college player, but it doesn't make them going to be a great MLB prospect?
So I've been wrong plenty of times too, and I've been doing this for 20 years now. And we miss all the time in this business, particularly because we are so often projecting players from high school saying, oh, this guy's 17 or 18. Let me tell you what he's going to be like when he's 25. No one's really that good, right? But one thing, just to get to your specific question, though, I will say this, that there are a couple of big differences between the college game and the pro game. The bats, I mentioned that briefly. That is one of those things. Also, the way that the game is played. There's so much more emphasis, say, on small ball in college. There's a lot less of that emphasis now in pro ball because we recognize it's not the best way to run an offense. And so players who do perform in college, what they're doing, the way that they're utilized may not translate that well once they get into pro ball, and they're expected to do different things, work the count more, try to sell out a little bit more for power, even if they're accepting more strikeouts maybe over the course of the season. And we also like to see pitchers who, in college a lot, they don't call their own games, for example. They don't pitch inside as much in college as they do in pro ball. So we're trying to find little indicators that might tell us that that pitcher will be able to make the transition. And sometimes that comes down to watching a guy play on Cape Cod or in the Northwoods League over the summer, because they are using wood bats and they do get to do things like call their own games or to pitch inside more often. So it's a matter of collecting all the data, whether it's the actual statistics or trying to scout players in multiple different spots over the 2 or 3 years they're in school.
Last one for you, Keith. I remember a few years back watching Oregon State. I think they played Michigan, and this kid, Nick Madrigal, went like 3 for 4 every game that they played. And I remember falling in love with him. And I feel like fans oftentimes put a lot of emphasis on what they see in all sorts of sports in the postseason. And that gives them a greater idea in their minds of how good someone could be at the next level. How much do you or scouts or GMs put added emphasis on Big Ten tournaments, NCAA tournaments, et cetera, as opposed to what you've seen throughout the entire regular season?
It's a great question. I'm going to at least one day of the SEC tournament next week to see a few players I've missed this spring. We probably put too much emphasis on it because it's one of the last things we'll see. It's just straight up recency bias. If you've seen a guy once or twice in the spring, go see him one more time in the Big Ten tournament, and he has a terrible day for you there, it's hard to get that out of your mind. That's always going to be the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about that player, when you should be looking at the entire body of work. I do think there's value in the tournaments because the games matter. They should be really playing to win, even more so than they are during the regular season with the greater intensity. And you'll probably tend to face a lot of the best competition, especially if you're a hitter. You're not going to see the worst guy in the other team's bullpen. You're going to see mostly the best pitchers on the other team's staff. So I do think there's a lot of value in it. You have to be careful maybe not to overweight it, but you will see every year folks like me and Jonathan Mayo, other folks who cover the draft will say so-and-so made a lot of money for himself at the ACC tournament last week, because we know from history that that really does happen even when it shouldn't work that way.
Keith Law from The Athletic. What a real treat to get to chat with you, man. I appreciate your time. Well, you know by now, all week long, top college basketball players have been gathered in Chicago for the NBA Draft Combine, trying to woo NBA scouts and GMs into drafting them in the draft, which comes your way June 23rd. Our Emily Eamon was there. She caught up with Buckeye EJ Liddell.
EJ, you've been in this process before. What's different this time around for you to be 100% committed?
Just me having all that stress off my shoulders, wondering if I wanted to go back or stay. Last year, I felt like I had a lot more to prove, and I felt like I did a lot of that last year, and I'm here ready to contribute to a winning team.
What were some of those things that last year you wanted to work on and be confident in?
Just being able to dribble the ball better, my three-point shooting, getting my condition better, and just showing I could play defense. And I ended up on the first team defensive team in the Big Ten. That was like a huge goal. I was like really excited about that. It's just things like that, improving.
Being a part of this process?
I mean, it's a dream, honestly. My goals are coming true. I'm just working really, really hard to get to where I want to go.
When's the first time you remember thinking, I want to play in the NBA?
When I was younger, I was like, I want to play in the NFL and NBA. It was like I had like 2 goals, but then after I stopped playing football, it was like that was my main goal since then.
What part of your game do you feel most confident in right now?
Confident in myself a lot. My shot blocking ability. Or just like catch and shoot 3-pointers. I've been working on that a ton these past 6 weeks.
In terms of play, where is your confidence at, scale of 1 to 10?
10, for sure. My confidence level has been going up and up every single year. So.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well. Huge news in the world of college basketball right before we go off air. Trace Jackson Davis of Indiana coming back. We had Andy Katz on the show yesterday, and he was talking about how he already had Indiana as a top 3 team in the league, but if TJD came back, it'd be hard not to put them as the #1 team in the Big Ten. And for Hoosier fans, you haven't been in that position since those Tom Crean days with Cody Zeller and company back in 2013. Glad to have